Page of Wands. The face cards such as the page very often indicate a literal person in our lives. In this case, it can indicate a female who is younger than the current. Wands people are warm, ambitious, and usually high achievers. If not a literal person, the Page of Wands indicates the energy of easy distraction. Try to stay focused. In general, this card indicates that things that you started some time ago are starting to come to fruition. It can also show a need for new things, new adventures, new approaches, and new ideas. The page brings us positive energy. We must supply the follow-through, however. Work. In terms of work, this card can show a woman, likely to have light hair, who is inclined to be very helpful to you at work. She also may be a little younger than you are. This could be by a matter of days or weeks. If you've been waiting on a decision for a job that you've already applied for, the news is very likely to be good. The job is also likely to be better and more enjoyable than you would have hoped. Love. Messages of love and affection are likely to be coming your way. If you are single, a new suitor with whom you have a lot in common, and who is also very adventuresome, may be about to burst into your world. Take a chance on them, but only if you're available. If you're committed and unhappy, now's the time to begin deciding if the relationship can be saved, and how long you will try to make it happen. Both parties have to be willing to work in a relationship. If your partner isn't, it might be time to move on. Finances. Money is very likely to be headed for an upswing when this card appears. Some of what you've put out into the world, in the form of good energy, is likely to be returning to you, with interest. This is a very good time to start planning long range, even if you're 20 years old. Where do you want to be, financially in 30 years? How will you make it happen? Health. In terms of health, the page points to a need for action. You will have to make some efforts to improve your health situation. Do you need more exercise? Do you need nutritional education to make sure that you are eating better? There are resources available. Nothing will change by wishing things were different. Take control. It won't be easy, but it can be done. Spirituality. This can be a very creative time for you, and a good time for you to actually become childlike, dream, play, be inventive. You never know what your creations during this time might come to, and at any rate you will enjoy yourself and this play will deepen and enrich your life. Tarot history. The history of the tarot is shrouded in mystery. Very little in the way of concrete information is known about its origin, although many things have been written about it. We will probably never know the truth, as fact and fiction seem to be irrevocably mixed nowadays. The tarot originated in northern Italy in the early 15th century, sometime between 1420 to 1440. Despite the fact that it is often attributed to originating from China, Egypt, India, or Morocco, to name just a few, there is absolutely no evidence that this is the case. Nor, as is often quoted, is there any evidence whatsoever that the tarot was brought to Europe by the Romanis. The name tarot is often attributed to being Egyptian, Hebrew, or Latin. This is not the case. The earliest names are all Italian in origin. The cards were originally called carte de triomphe. Around 1530 the word tarocchi began to be used to differentiate them from a new game of triumphs that was in vogue at the time. The etymology of this new word is unknown. The German variant was known as tarot and the French tarot. The symbolism for the tarot is drawn from the culture of medieval and Renaissance Europe. The tarot subjects are distinctive to European Christendom. The symbolism does not come from Egypt or any of the other exotic locales often mentioned. It is often stated that modern-day playing cards evolved from the tarot. This is not the case. Modern-day playing cards came to Europe courtesy of Islam. They were an adaptation of the Islamic Mamluk cards. They appeared quite suddenly in many different European cities between 1375 and 1378. These early cards had suits of cups, swords, coins, and polo sticks, and courts consisting of a king and 2 male underlings. The tarot adds the Fool, the trumps, and a set of queens to this system. Sometime before 1480, the French introduced cards with the now familiar suits of hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. The Joker is not original to either the early form of modern-day cards, or to the tarot, but instead originated in the USA around 1857 and was used as a wild card in poker as well as the highest trump in euchre. It is also often stated that the Catholic and Protestant churches outlawed the tarot and all who used it in an effort to stamp out so-called heretical teachings. This is not the case. The Inquisition documented what the Church considered as evidence of heresy in great detail. The tarot was not even mentioned. After the Reformation, less controversial images for the Pope and Papess were substituted by card makers as the Church had objected to the original images. It is often said that the tarot was not used as a divination tool prior to 1781. The tarot was used as early as the 16th century to compose poems describing personality characteristics. There is historical evidence that in one case at least these verses were presented as relating to the person's fate. In other words, divination. Divinatory meanings were assigned to the tarot in Bologna in the early 1700s, and this is the first unambiguous evidence of tarot divination. Ordinary playing cards were connected with divination as early as 1487. It is not unreasonable to think that the tarot was also. The tarot has often been attributed with being a pillar of Western esoterica occultism. This is certainly not the case. The first occult writers to discuss the tarot were Court de Gabellin and the Comte de Melot in 1781. The tarot was not mentioned in any occult work for the first 350 years of its existence. The terms Major Arcana, Minor Arcana, High Priestess, and Hierophant are anachronistic when referring to the older tarot decks. The historically appropriate terms are the trumps and the fool, the suit cards, Papess or Popess, and Pope. Likewise, pentacles and wands are relatively recent substitutions for the traditional suit names of coins and staves or batons. The original Italian titles of the cards were in some cases different from the later French titles that have become familiar to us through the Tarot de Marseille and its descendants. Also, the ordering of the trumps varied considerably in Italy where the cards originated. It is not known which ordering is the earliest one. Even the number of cards in the deck varied a great deal. So care should be used in making statements about the original meaning of the cards based on the familiar titles and ordering. Many believe that the Waite-Smith Tarot is the original, standard, or most authentic tarot deck in existence. This is absolutely untrue. The Waite-Smith/Rider-Waite deck was created in 1909, not even 100 years ago, making it a relative newcomer in the almost 600-year history of the tarot. There is actually no definitive version of the tarot.